Hello friends, today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter number 3, linear equation in two variables. Now as our chapter says, pair of linear equations. Pair means in this particular chapter you will always have a pair of equations. You need to solve those pairs and get the values of two variables, that is x and y. So generally in this particular chapter we are going to take x and y as variables. Now it is not compulsory that always x and y will be variable, but in your textbook in almost all sums x and y are taken as two variables. Variables means whose value varies from sum to sum. In certain sum you can get a value of x as 1, in certain sum 0, -2, -5. Similarly y will also have different values. So x and y will be variables. So once again, pair of linear equations in two variables. So in this chapter we are having equations where the values of x and y are unknown. Using different methods about which we will discuss in detail later on in this chapter, our main aim will be to find the values of x and y. So 3x plus 2y is equal to 5 is considered as a linear equation having two variables, that is x and y. Similarly, another equation x minus 2y is equal to 3. This also can be considered as a linear equation having two variables x and y. Now again, as I said, that if you want to find the values of x and y, you require at least two equations. So you can consider this as a pair of linear equations. Now, standard form of this linear equation is mentioned as ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So this is the standard form in which a pair of linear equations in two variables is expressed. Now if I want to convert this in standard form, then this constant term 5 will be brought on the left side and the equation will become 3x plus 2y minus 5 is equal to 0. Similarly, if I want to convert this particular equation in standard form, then again 3 will come on the left hand side and the same equation in standard form will be represented as x minus 2y minus 3 is equal to 0. So whenever you are asked to represent any equation in standard form, you will write it as ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Now as I already told you that you will have a pair of equations. When you represent these equations in the form of graph, then each equation will be represented by a line. So as you are having a pair of equations, you will get two lines. Now when you are drawing those two lines on a graph paper, there are three possibilities. What are those three possibilities? First, those two lines will intersect at one point. So this is one line, this is another line, and these two lines are intersecting at one point. So the first possibility is that when you express these equations in the form of line, you will get two lines and those two lines might be intersecting at one point. That is possibility number 1. Second possibility is that they are parallel, they do not intersect each other. So when they do not intersect each other, that means they are parallel. So these two lines are parallel, they do not intersect each other even if you extend them on both the sides. Now third possibility is that they are coincident, means both lines are one and the same. You just need to extend them on both the sides, so both lines will superimpose on each other, they will be coincident. So once again, there are three possibilities. They might intersect at a point, they might be parallel, or they might be coincident. Now in this particular chapter, the most important thing is how to frame the equations based on the given condition. A 4-mark question is asked wherein certain conditions are given. To be precise, two conditions will be given. You need to change those two conditions in the form of two equations, linear equations in two variables, and then by solving it using appropriate method, you will get the values of x and y. Such question is asked for 4 marks, so it's very important how to frame the question. Once again, once you understand that question and once you frame the equation using the condition, then the solution of that question becomes very easy. So you need to be very careful how to represent those conditions in the form of equations. Now this thing has been discussed in exercise 3.1. The first question of exercise 3.1 goes this way. Aftab tells his daughter, 7 years ago I was 7 times as old as you. Also 3 years from now I shall be 3 times as old as you will be. So here two persons' age is discussed, that is Aftab and his daughter. So I will consider the present age of Aftab as x years. Similarly, I will consider present age of his daughter as y years. Now, two conditions are given. One condition is for 7 years ago and another condition is for 3 years from now. So using these two conditions, we will try to frame two different equations. First condition is for 7 years ago. Now, let us say that my age right now is x. So what would be my age 7 years ago? X minus 7. So similarly, here we have taken age of Aftab as x years. So 7 years ago, age of Aftab will be represented as x minus 7. Similarly, age of his daughter, present age is represented as y. So what would be the age of daughter 7 years ago? It is represented as y minus 7. Now the age of Aftab was 7 times as old as his daughter. So you have to multiply 7. I am equating them. So as the age of Aftab was 7 times the age of his daughter, 7 will be multiplied on the other side. So listen, 7 years ago age of Aftab, that is x minus 7, is 7 times the age of his daughter. Now this condition is for 7 years ago. So we have x minus 7 and y minus 7. Now when I will open this bracket, I will have x minus 7 is equal to 7y minus 49. Now I want to convert this equation in standard form, so everything will be taken on the left hand side. So x is on the left hand side already. When I take this 7y on left hand side, plus 7y changes to minus 7y, and this minus 49 when comes on left side it changes to plus 49. So plus 49 minus 7, so I have x minus 7y plus 42 is equal to 0. So this is a linear equation based on condition number 1. Now let us pay attention to condition number 2. 7 years from now, so I am talking about 3 years from now. So I have to add 3 years. So 3 years from now will be represented as x plus 3. So age of Aftab 3 years from now will be x plus 3. Similarly, age of his daughter 3 years from now will be y plus 3. Now how much times his age will be? His age will be 3 times. So I will multiply the equation on the daughter side by 3 to balance the equation. So 3 years from now, age of Aftab, that is x plus 3, is 3 times the age of his daughter. So x plus 3 is equal to 3 into y plus 3. Again we will do the same thing, open the bracket. So x plus 3 is equal to 3y plus 9. I want to change it in standard form. So I will bring this 3y plus 9 on the left hand side. So I have x minus 3y, this plus 9 becomes minus 9 plus 3 gives minus 6. So the second equation is x minus 3y minus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, in continuation of exercise 3.1, as I said previously that it is very necessary how to frame the equations based on the condition given in the question. Compared to question 1, question 2 and question 3 are very simple, very easy, and both are more or less same. What are the questions? Let us understand them. A coach buys 3 bats and 6 balls for rupees 3,900. Also buys another bat, means 1 bat, and 3 balls for rupees 1,300. So based on these two conditions, we need to frame the two equations. So what are the two things given over here, bat and ball? So we will assume price of 1 bat as rupees x. Similarly, we will assume that price of 1 ball is rupees y. Now look at the first condition. How many bats we are having? 3 bats. So if price of 1 bat is x rupees, That means price of 3 bets will be 3x. Now along with that, the coach also buys certain amounts of balls. So how many balls are there? 6 balls. So if price of one ball is y rupees, that means the price of 6 balls will be 6y. So what is the total payment made by the coach? Rupees 3,900. So the equation will be 3x plus 6y is equal to 3,900. That means the price of 3 bets plus the price of 6 balls is rupees 3,900. Now if you want to make this equation a little bit shorter, you can see that 3 is common in all these 3 terms. The coefficient of x, the coefficient of y and the constant term all have 3 common. So I will divide all these 3 terms with 3. So I will get a little bit truncated equation, that is x plus 2y is equal to 1,300. Now let us move to condition number 2. The coach also buys another bet. So one bet. So it is represented as x. And 3 balls. Again, the cost of one ball was y rupees. So the cost of 3 balls will be 3y for rupees 1,300. So the equation will be x plus 3y is equal to 1,300. So this is equation number 1 based on first condition, and this is equation number 2 based on condition number 2. Further, we'll learn how to solve these equations using various methods and get the values of x and y. But in this particular question, we are only asked to frame the questions. So we'll only frame the questions. We'll solve them in the next exercise. Now, the third and the last questions of exercise 3.1. Cost of 2 kg apples and 1 kg grape is rupees 160. So now two things are given, apple and grape. So I will consider cost of 1 kg apple as x rupees and the cost of 1 kg grape as y rupees. Now we have 2 kg apples, that will be represented as 2x, plus we also have 1 kg of grapes, so it is represented as y. So 2 kg apple represented as 2x, 1 kg grape represented as y, and the cost is rupees 160. So the first equation based on first condition will be 2x plus y is equal to 160. Now second condition, cost of 4 kg apples, so that is 4x, and 2 kg grapes, that is plus 2y, is rupees 300. This is your equation number 2. Now again, if you want to make equation number 2 short, you can divide all the terms with 2 and get a little bit truncated equation. So the main thing in this chapter is how to frame the equations, and after framing the equations, we'll solve the pair and get the values of x and y. But these things we'll learn in the next sessions.